Was there a moment where you thought, I don't know if modeling's for me, maybe I should just give up?
Yes, I think, I think I still have those thoughts. It's almost like a toxic relationship, you know? It's like, it's bad for 6 months, but then you get that really good one that just keeps you going for the next horrible 6 months.
Yeah. At this point, I couldn't help myself. So I turned around, I'm like, so what you just told me is you're really bad in bed.
You said that to him. That's straight over my head.
This guy. Welcome to another episode of 80/20. Today we have international supermodel, actress, entrepreneur, and I hear karaoke queen, Sara Sampaio in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now I want to kick off today's episode by paying you a compliment because obviously we're friends outside of the studio. I met you through Shanina. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, you know, other women might be able to relate to this when they meet somebody like you because you're obviously very beautiful. You're accomplished. And that can be, and not putting myself down here, but that can be kind of intimidating when you meet somebody who literally ticks all the boxes, which you do. You sort of think, is this person going to be a nice person? What are they going to be like? Are they going to be real, fake, whatever? And what I found when I first met you is you are one of the most real, down-to-earth people I've ever met. And I think that comes across through your social media as well, which I don't know about you, but I've always found it really hard to achieve authenticity through my social media because I'm quite shy putting myself out there like that. And yet when I go to your page, I find it really inspiring because, I mean, you just post it all. You post all your pics unedited. You don't touch them, or at least I think you don't. You talk about everything that's going on in your life. You share the good times and the bad. And I just think that is something that's really inspirational to me at least. And I'm sure other people.
That means a lot. God, that's a lot. That's a
Sorry,
lot to live up
intro.
to. That's a lot to live up to. God, where to start? I like when it comes to social media, I'm just trying to be me, and I think I'm still trying to figure it out what works for me. And I think a lot of the times, what I put out, sometimes it's just to help myself.
Okay.
When I'm opened about stuff that's happening with me, I think part of me just needs that help as well, like to hear that I'm not alone as well. That, so, yeah. Sometimes it might come out that I'm trying to help people, but I think at the core, I'm probably just trying to deal with it myself, and I think it helps with everyone to just know that you're not alone and other people are going through the same things as you, and I think that also helps me heal and see things from other people's perspectives and stuff like that, and yeah, I mean, if I'm down to earth, maybe some days not. I think
even saying that is down to earth.
I think we all have our moments.
Yeah,
me too.
But
no,
I'm just trying to stay alive.
That's rare to have though in our industry, because a lot of people try to create a narrative for themselves on social media and edit their photos and have a story, and
guilty.
Yeah.
I think we're all guilty.
Definitely guilty.
I've definitely edited my photos in the past. I definitely try not to do it more because it hurts my own self-esteem as well when I used to do that, because you go back and was like, oh, why don't I look like that? And I was like, well, because you put a filter on that photo. That's why you don't look like that. Yep. So I think part of it, why I decided to stop doing it was just, I don't want to do that self-harm to myself.
Do you think it affected your mental self-esteem when you were doing that? And did that play a role in with work, do you think, as well?
It definitely hurts self-esteem. 100%, because our job is already being in the spotlight and having everyone have an opinion towards everything you do and how you look. And so the way us editing photos, it's a way of us exerting control. Be like, I don't want to give anyone reason to criticize because I have a little pimple here, or I have a roll there, or a cellulite there. It's just because, no one wants to be criticized. No
Open to judgment.
Open to judgment. So that's why people do that, because they don't want to be criticized and judged. But at the end of the day, I realized that I was doing that, and I'm like, well, I am judging myself because I'm saying that having those things are bad, which they're not. And I think it's all the work that you have to do on yourself, and you just have to be kinder to yourself. And I feel like if I'm not comfortable enough to put a photo the way I look out there, then I shouldn't put that photo.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than making changes that aren't real.
Exactly.
I think everyone needs to follow you, Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, no, really, they
That's
do.
true.
Because
it's so rare.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I especially feel that given the fact that you are a Victoria's Secret model, which is, I believe, how you two met, right? Yes.
No.
No? How did you meet?
We met just
out
out
and about
in the club.
At a karaoke bar.
At a karaoke bar.
Sarah was killing it on stage.
We met.
I don't know how we
all
met.
of us and our friends. We just started beginning our work at the same time. So all of the group of girls that we know are close to till today, kind of like starting in New York, and we were like, I was 18.
Little babies.
Yeah, I was like 20 when I came to New York for the first time.
Actually, a fun story. Sarah and I didn't like each other when we first met.
Why?
We didn't like. I just didn't think we knew each other.
We just didn't know each other.
Yeah, we had issues because of my past relationship as well, and just
Didn't I met you through your ex actually?
terrible.
I think that's how we
Yeah.
actually met.
Yeah,
And he was all
yeah.
Oh, dear. So, if you're listening,
That's how we think about exes.
Yeah.
We didn't actually have
we just didn't know each other.
Didn't
so
know
we
each other,
didn't really
connect.
had to like time to talk, and we just see each other out and
Yeah.
about and work, and I think we just never
we never connected.
so how did you eventually like go, hang on a second, this chick's pretty cool. I want to be friends with her.
I think we'll probably start getting closer with like VS and then like we kind of created this little group with Jasmine and Joe and Taylor and Lais, and I think we just kind of like we're all around the same age. We start getting along very well, and I think that's how our friendship kind of just grew.
What a fun girl gang.
I know.
Having a
some
girl
crazy
community.
20s.
Yeah, we've had an amazing time. The most beautiful thing about our friendship is like we've traveled the world together. We've seen a lot of life together.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of us have seen through like relationships, breakups, makeups, babies, marriages, proposals, no proposals, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So we've seen it all through like just our community, and we have this group of girls that we're still together today.
I find that kind of amazing because most people tend to outgrow their friends after a couple of years, I feel. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I've got some long-standing friends, but there are some that will come into your life for 2-3 years and then they're gone again. But you guys have really like held strong for
I think
a while.
Yeah, now that I think of, I think, most of us didn't really go to university, so...
which is college.
Which is college, sorry. Yeah, so like we didn't go to college. So our college was modeling. And we were all traveling at the same time for fashion weeks. A lot of us were staying in model apartments together. We would like go out together.
Oh, I've lived in a couple of model apartments before back when I was a kid doing it. And let me tell you,
That's a whole other podcast.
that's a different podcast altogether.
That's a whole other podcast.
Surviving model apartments.
We should talk about that though. Actually, let's talk about what a model apartment looks like first.
Yeah, because you might think it's all glitz and glamour, but if you wind it back to the start of a model's career, I mean...
So pretty much, depending on your agency, your model apartment could be quite nice or quite awful.
There's nice ones.
I actually,
never
you know
been in
what?
one.
I actually, I lived in one for like 8 months in Paris, and I was with Marilyn Paris at the time, and it was not bad. It was like around 10 girls max, and there was like three rooms, and the rooms were pretty big. It was like 4 girls in one room, 4 girls in another, and then there was another room for 2 girls. And we had a lady that would take care of us. So it was like clean and nice, and it like thinking back, it was really nice, because then I went to New York for the first time, and it was just like a 1-bedroom apartment, and there was like 8 girls in one room.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just disgusting. The bathrooms are just gross, and it's
Because girls can be gross.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really gross.
Girls can
mean,
be gross.
And
I'm
then
not.
girls would smoke inside, and like I remember waking up and there was like just smoke around me, and it was just disgusting. Yeah, it was not the nicest, and but like when I lived in Paris, I made some of like really good friends there.
Yeah.
In my brain, your Paris experience is like Emily in Paris. Like that's what I'm thinking of right now. You're just strutting around looking fabulous. There's great music and
No.
there's hot guys everywhere. No?
Definitely not.
All right. Okay.
Definitely not.
Okay.
I mean, I remember when I first moved to Paris, I didn't work for like the first 6 months.
How? When you look like you.
Well, I was 18, 19. I look at my photos now and I'm like, I get it why it didn't work. I look like I was 12.
Yeah.
I
Little
looked
baby
really,
Sarah.
really young. Like I joke that I only went through puberty when I hit my late 20s. I feel like only like a few years ago I hit puberty. I really looked really young.
So you feel like you were doing VS prepubescent.
Pretty much. That's why I stayed in pink for so long. But
You had very humble beginnings. I think all of
Yeah.
us. I think a lot of us
also,
get judged
I was
for that.
not very tall.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'7.5".
I love that you're saying, I'm not very tall, and yet the rest of the world's like, that's a giant.
But it's not for modeling.
No.
For modeling, they're like 5'10" up.
Goodness.
If you're under 5'10", you already have a little trouble getting. And now it's more open to a little bit of everyone. But back then, it was like, you're not tall, you don't do anything.
Did you feel pressure and like stress and feel pressure from your agency or your peers to like
to grow in height.
just to grow in your work? Like for me, I'll give an example. Like I was stressed. I had like so many dreams and goals of where I saw myself and what I wanted to do for my work, and then being told like you have to be 5'9" or you're not you're not high fashion enough to
How
do
tall
this
are you?
job.
Yeah.
I'm 5'9".
You're 5'9", so
I
just on the cusp.
hit, So it was so stressful for me.
Very stressful.
Because like for modeling, like you're not making money, like Sarah said, and so for you to get these jobs, there's pressure to like you want to stay in that decent model's apartment. You better make sure you get that job, but also it's your it's your goals and your dreams to be there. I don't know, like if you felt the stress or.
I had so much stress. And I remember when I lived in Paris in a model's apartment, it would come Fashion Week. And, back then we had faxes. We get our day through the fax machine in the apartment. And
Probably some people listening don't even know what a fax is. It's this phone that spits out paper. Just
Exactly.
In case.
It's like a printer, but it's connected to a phone. It's a whole thing. And
We're not old.
No, I'm only 20. But
So how did you deal with that stress? Because if you weren't working,
sorry,
how did you survive?
wait. So it would come Fashion Week, and we would get our schedule for the next day, and all the girls sometimes would have like 10, 15, 20 castings a day to go see all these houses. I had nothing. So I was just like, I couldn't even go to the castings. They wouldn't even see me at the castings.
Just because of your height.
Just because of my height. Simply just because of my height.
Because you think people are actually sitting there next to these runways, like with measuring tapes, like going, "Oh, she's not tall enough."
And it's just so stupid because they alter the clothes either way because no girl has the same measurements. But that's a whole other conversation too. But yeah, that I remember. I think that was one of the first times that I really felt like really down and like I didn't know if it was gonna work out because I was just not working. And I kept telling me, like, you're just never gonna do Vogue. You're just never gonna do shows. Like, you can make some money with catalogs and beauty, but then it's like,
What do you
beauty contracts are only given to girls that are doing all the shows. So I was like, how can I not do shows? But you say that I could do all these beauty contracts, but you're still, I can't, like, people don't know who I am because people are not seeing me. So how do I build that? And the truth is, like, the French market back then, it was just a very high fashion market. And it was just very hard for me to get there. And it was only when I finally went to New York that I started doing other kinds of jobs and like when I got Calzedonia, and then I ended up doing a commercial for Maybelline, and then I ended up starting working with Victoria's Secret. And that's how I first started building. But yeah, it was tough in Paris. Like the first few months, I just literally barely worked.
Was there a moment where you thought, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Like, I don't know if modeling's for me. Maybe I should just give up.
Yes, I think. I think I still have those thoughts.
Yeah, well, I think it's normal. I think
normal. It's very normal.
Yeah.
But then it's when you're like about to quit, then you just, I decided to go to New York, and literally next day I was seeing Victoria's Secret.
What would be your advice to anyone who's like listening to that feel like this is just not working out for me? I can't get to where I want to be or what I want to do. And for you, like having all your odds against you, like what was your driving force to like get there? Because you're so successful now, and continuing to be.
I think when you're in your 20s, everything is life or death, so you just don't think and you just keep going. And I think I always had that job that kept, it's almost like a toxic relationship, it's like it's bad for 6 months, but then you get that really good one that just keeps you going for the next horrible 6 months.
Yeah. Feel that.
And that's how it was. And that's how it was for me in Paris. Was really, really bad. And then I went to New York, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, Victoria's Secret wants to meet me. Like, oh, Maybelline wants to book me. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should just move to New York. And, and then I spent 8 years in New York, and it was always like that. Like, there's going to be ups and downs. I was lucky. I was very, very lucky because I'm a commercial model. I always made money from the beginning. I never went into crazy debt with the agencies because obviously there is this models apartments, but they charge you.
Wait, so that's how it works? You go into debt with the agencies?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like you don't have to put anything up front because the agency, sure, they'll pay for your flight to come to the city. They'll pay for your model apartment. But then once you start making money, that comes out of your account.
And what if you don't?
You have
a debt. And they overcharge you as well.
They overcharge you.
It's disgusting,
actually. They'll charge you I remember in New York, it was like a 1-bedroom apartment, and they were charging a little bit over $100 a day.
What?
A night.
What?
And there's 10 girls in 1-bedroom apartment. Yeah. So you do the math.
This sounds very scammy.
It is.
Wait, mine was $3,000
per month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
And it was a group 10 girls.
Yeah.
In an apartment.
It's really, really...
To young girls.
It's a scam. It's honestly the biggest scam. That's how they used to make their money. Probably.
I'm really glad that you guys are talking about this and the fact that you went through it, because I feel like we're going to have potentially a lot of mothers who are listening to this going, oh, wow, Shanina and Sarah are so beautiful. I want to get my daughter into modeling. I mean,
Don't get me wrong, like agencies are investing in you.
Yeah.
You know, and if a girl never makes money and she's in debt, they're going to have to eat that money.
Right.
You know, like if a girl went to Paris, was there for a year, did not do work, and decides to stop modeling, they are not going to ask that money back from her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they will have to eat that cost. So they are investing in you. But at the same time, they're also making money out of you. And it's like the modeling world is so unregulated. Like they charge you for everything. Like there's new laws in France. They can't charge you for a lot of things. But, you know, like they charge us for being on their website.
That's ridiculous.
They used to charge
Oh my God, I
us.
remember that. Oh my gosh.
I still get charged for that.
No,
Like,
What?
I don't do
Yeah.
that anymore. Nope.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Cut it off?
I've cut it off.
And I'm like, why?
What would be your advice to young girls and also young boys, or whatever, or anyone who's trying to get
Yeah.
into the modeling industry? Like, what would be your advice for like safe procedures to go in? Because I get this question a lot, so I
Yeah,
think it's
me too,
really
yeah.
important to protect the youth or anyone that's trying to, you know,
Yeah.
move into the fashion world.
My first advice is always don't do it.
Go to school.
That's really selling it.
And then the second one is if you really, really want to do it, you have to be first you're gonna have to take a look at yourself, and you're gonna have to be what do you call it?
Ready for like
Thick skin?
mentally bashing as well, I think.
No, you're just gonna have to be realistic.
Yeah. It's very
You know,
true.
you're gonna have to be realistic. Not everyone can be a model.
Yeah.
And yes,
That
there-
doesn't mean you're not beautiful.
doesn't mean you're not
No,
beautiful,
yeah.
and it doesn't mean. Let me go back. The modeling has opened to a whole lot of different sizes and bodies, which is very, very important. Unfortunately, there's still a long, long way to go, and it's the fact that it's still a very specific type of body that still gets all the work.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or not or agree with it, it still is what it is. So it's just gonna be, you're just gonna have to adapt to, like, if you're a plus size, you're just gonna have to be like, look, I'm a plus size, this is what I'm working with, and this is what I should go after.
Yeah.
And you can have a lot of success as a plus size
yeah.
model. I mean,
I
look at
mean,
Ashley Graham. She's
Not even
killing
like
it.
so
So
many.
many.
Yeah.
Paloma, like there's so like, and they're beautiful, and like they are changing the industry, and it's so incredible to see.
Yeah. The world is not a sample size.
But at the end of
It
the
is
day,
not.
Yeah.
at the end of the day, this industry, a lot of it is about luck.
Yeah.
You know, it's about luck, about being at the right time, the right place at the right time. A lot of persistence, and it's such a horrible job, because you are simply being judged by the way you look constantly.
What advice would you give to young women and young men who are struggling with body image issues? Because I feel like you must have some really great techniques.
I don't. Like, I'm still, I know I look the way I look, but, you know, what they say, models are the most insecure breed you can meet.
Do you think that's true? I mean, when you look in the mirror, like, if you don't mind me asking, what do you see when you look at yourself? Because I know what I see.
I mean, I can go on a full rant of list of things that I don't like about myself, but
That just hurt my heart. When
Yeah.
you said that, Sarah.
I know, but I don't want to go there, because
It's not.
I don't want to talk to myself that way.
I agree.
So when I look at the mirror, I try to not focus on that. But yeah, of course I'm insecure.
Would that be your biggest piece of advice then? Like, when you look in the mirror and you see something you don't like, don't pick on yourself.
Don't, it's just be kind to yourself. And the worst thing you can ever do to yourself is compare yourself to anyone else.
I agree.
And I know there's all this talk about, you know, like, what's models and fashion responsibility when it comes to like the body image talk and stuff. And like, yes, advertising is horrible, and it's made to make you feel like you're not good enough until you buy this product. That's the whole thing about our job. You know, I think at the end of the day, we're just trying to make a career and just do our life, you know. We can't be responsible for other people's feelings, but I think at the same time we do have a responsibility to, you know, just
acknowledge the
fact that it is happening. And that's what I try to do with my social medias, because I know I'm also portraying this perfect image. I also want to show what's that perfect image when she's not working.
You did a really good video on TikTok that went viral.
It went viral.
It was really crazy. If you look up Sarah's TikTok, it was like about angles.
About angles, yes.
Yeah, about your body.
It was actually inspired on this TikToker that I used to follow, and I decided to do my own version. So the credit goes all to her. But yeah, and that video, I decided to do it because it came from insecurity of myself, because it was right after quarantine. I had put on some weight.
Like everybody.
Like
during quarantine.
Even if you didn't, you know, like I had put on weight. And, you know, I wasn't very comfortable with it. Or actually, I didn't really care much, but I started getting comments saying, you know, mean comments. They're like, "Oh, she's fat," or like, I didn't start working as much.
Do you get a lot of mean comments, or is it mostly positive?
Yeah. I get a lot of mean comments, but it's fine. But yeah, I was feeling a little bit.
No, it's not fine.
It's not fine. But yeah, I was feeling a little bit insecure at the same time, and also like if I would post a photo and be like, "Oh, this is it's all edit. It's not the way you look," and I'm like, "No, like you can look both."
Yeah.
Like I've been doing this job for a really long time, that I know what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And I think what I wanted to put out is like, not everything is just, I think it's just more, don't compare your worst self to an edited image of someone else.
Right.
Because that's what we do constantly. It's like we are feeling down, so we just open Instagram trying to make ourselves not to think about it, and we start seeing this whole curated lives of people.
Yeah, it's like their highlights reel.
It's curated. It's a full on. Oh, sorry. It's a full on. You know, you see one photo. There was probably 100 other photos that she hated, and then she went and changed the colors, and then maybe she used the Face app or Facetune, whatever. So we are constantly comparing ourselves to the best edit version of someone else, and that's what we need to stop doing. So, but at the same time, I don't want to have to not be able to put that out either. So I try to find a balance, and also like, you know, like I can look like this, but I also look like this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what that video came, was just like, just because you'll see a paparazzi photo of me where I don't look like I'm not in shape, whatever, and then I post a picture on my Instagram that I look great, doesn't mean that I edit that. It means that
You stretched your torso
I
or
stretch my
something.
torso, or pose is everything.
Yeah.
And I want to show that it's okay that, you know, or even when you're getting on your period, or like I found out that I'm allergic to wheat, so I would look like I was like 5 months pregnant every time I eat things with wheat.
And she was on set shooting lingerie, and she was probably at the time you didn't even know that
I
that was
didn't-
happening. She didn't know.
Yeah, little wheat baby on board.
But I would get so bloated.
Yeah.
And I think people need to understand that, like, it's okay.
Yeah. You know what I think is really
You're
refreshing?
human.
You're human.
You might be a
and
model and so
yeah.
stunning and beautiful, but we all are human. We have allergies. We have like,
And it's
we're
just
not gonna
like-
be our best. We have menstrual cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I put that, I think, because I was going through a more negative like I was just going through like a period of bad self-esteem, and I think I just needed to be like, for me, I was like, it's okay to look like this and to look like this.
Yeah.
That you don't always, I don't like, just because I'm a model, I don't have to look perfect.
Well, it went
100.
viral, so obviously everyone
yeah,
agreed with
and-
you.
Yeah, it went viral, and people really liked it, and I hope that it somehow helped people's self-esteem as well, because I think it's very important for people to understand that you don't have to be perfect 24/7.
I think it's really refreshing to, number one, hear you talk about it, looking the way you do and being as accomplished as you are. But also, there's quite a lot of other people that are, you know, big names, beautiful people, models, actresses, whatever, that are coming out and admitting that they too feel very insecure. I was reading an article the other day that I shared with Shanina, and I think did you send it on to Sarah?
I did.
Well, it did the rounds, this article, of Charlize Theron has come out and said she's not going to take on any more movie roles that involve her putting on weight, because she's admitted that putting on weight makes her feel insecure, and she said that she wore overcoats on red carpets and that kind of thing because she had extra weight on.
Yeah, and also she's what, almost 50?
50 something, yeah. Yeah,
Like-
and she looks amazing.
She looks
first of all.
I mean,
amazing.
she's incredible.
She's
But it's what she
incredible.
said. She's like, you know, when she did Monster, it was in like 2 months she was back to. But your body changes when you're getting older, so it's harder to get back in shape. And it's also like, you shouldn't have to get back in shape.
Yeah.
But when you live in the spotlight, and not even just the spotlight, like constantly with Instagram and TikToks, your image is constantly out and everyone is seeing and judging. It just really hurts your self-esteem. Am I saying that?
Yeah, self-esteem.
Yeah,
Self-esteem.
Yeah.
Sorry. You
Yeah.
know when you say the word so many
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
it just starts to sound bad. But yeah, I mean, I agree with her. You know, like it's also not good for your body to put on so much weight and then lose. And like I understand why she doesn't want to do that, and it's valid that she feels the way she feels. There's nothing wrong with feeling like not confident.
Have you had pressure from or being in the industry to change your image and your body? And how did you deal with that?
Yeah, because you're an actress now. Like you've
Yes.
gone from model to actress to entrepreneur. You're doing all sorts of exciting things.
Yeah, I'm just branching out.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely felt pressure. In the beginning was like that pressure of the height, but I can't do anything about it.
Get your
and
knees
it's
done,
just
maybe.
like,
I don't know. I'm kidding.
and it was the most like frustrating thing because literally all I would be said to me was like, if you were 2 inches taller, you could have do all of this. And I'm like, well, but there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
So give me another
option. Yeah. What can I do?
So, and then with like, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's always pressure. You know, I think I put a lot of the pressure on myself. There has been pressure to put on weight because I was very skinny. Then and then sometimes, even if it's not like someone telling you like, oh, you have to lose weight, or there is that pressure that, you know, I put weight on quarantine and I wasn't working. Wasn't working.
Yeah.
And
So wait, post-quarantine, when you put on a few pounds, you weren't getting modeling work?
No, I wasn't working.
Really? Did the
Yeah.
agency say something to you, or?
You know, like, they are more careful nowadays, and they don't need to say it because I can
You were seeing the results of
You
like,
knew.
what was
see
happening.
it,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, like, they were like, yeah, you know, like, you put on some weight, which is fine, but, you know, like, you know, how the industry is. So even if
Okay.
you don't have anyone saying, like, oh, you have to lose weight, there's still that pressure because you see like when I'm really skinny, I get more work than when I'm a little bigger.
Yeah.
My goodness, this is like, and look, I did go through it a little bit myself when I was a kid.
And don't get me wrong, that was the only time I've ever been bigger because simply I was just not working out and I was just eating my weight out of in gluten. And I wasn't supposed to.
Who wasn't?
And I've always been skinny all my life and I've always had really bad eating habits because I just always, if I could eat pizza every day, I would. And I know everyone looking was like, they're going to be like, you're such a liar. Like, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, I actually had a hard time putting weight. I've always had. Now it's easy. It's easier to put on weight, but I also start being healthier with my choices when it comes to food. Yeah. And I think I'm healthier now than I was in my 20s, and I was way skinnier in my 20s. Yeah. But I was just like that back then. But nowadays it's like I went to Italy and I wasn't working out and I was eating a lot of pasta, which I was not supposed to, and I put on weight.
But you're on vacay.
I know.
Yeah, 80-20.
Let's just say
in Italy?
Let's say my allergy was not very happy. But it's funny because my allergy wasn't so bad when I was in Italy.
Everybody says that. They say that when they go to Italy, you know, gluten and wheat and those sorts of things that would normally upset your stomach in America, it's I feel like it's not as processed there or something.
Yeah.
A lot of people can tolerate it.
Also, like, I'm allergic, so I mean, if we want to get specific into it.
Yeah, tell us your allergies.
So, I'm actually, since I was 19, I had chronic hives, and no doctor could figure it out until I started working with this new doctor, and she made me do all these exams, and she said, you're very allergic to wheat, to this specific protein in wheat. So how it comes in me, it's that it gives me a rash. And I would eat wheat every single meal. Like, I was bread here. I was just always eating something with gluten. So
Just love the carbs.
Just love the carbs.
Same.
Just love the carbs. Just love bread. I'm Portuguese. We like feed ourselves off of bread.
Yeah.
So my body couldn't get rid of the histamines as fast as I was producing them.
I see.
So now if I eat like stuff with wheat once in a while, it doesn't really affect me because my body's able to eliminate. But if I was to start eating it like every single meal for like 2 weeks, I would start getting hives again.
Right.
So it's just like my body can't get rid of that allergen as fast as I was putting it in my body. So that was constantly, like, I had to take an antihistamine every single day since I was 19.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Just to eat what you want to eat. That's crazy.
And no one figured out what.
What something else you've been dealing with? We spoke about this. Trichotillomania.
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 Yeah.
The name of my favorite new rap song, right?
Yeah.
No, it's something else?
Yeah.
Trichotillomania. And I've noticed, I didn't actually, as a friend, I feel like I was a bad friend because I was like, I noticed that, but I didn't I was like, oh, that's Sarah. I don't know.
What did you notice, Shanina?
I noticed.
So for those who don't know, trichotillomania, it's like you just have an impulse of pulling hair. I do it from my eyebrows. People pull it from their hair or eyelashes or pretty much any place where you have hair.
Yeah.
But
just hanging out with Sarah, and we, friends for years, I noticed like she'll just do this, but sometimes like, when you're like sitting down and concentrating, I just noticed she'll do that. Or, like even a bit of hair, like I could, like it's kind of like a nervous tick, but I noticed it, but I was like,
Do you pull your hair out as well or just your eyebrows?
just my eyebrows.
You have exceptional eyebrows though.
Oh, they're filled. And it goes through phases,
Yeah.
It goes through phases where I pulling really badly and then I'm not. And yeah, it's
why do you think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when did this first start, and how did you finally go, hang on a second, it's not totally normal that I'm pulling my eyebrows out like this?
It started when I was around 15. And
was it triggered by something?
I don't know. Probably. Well, it's a coping mechanism to deal with anxiety.
Yeah.
And stress. When when you don't have the tools to deal with anxiety and stress and sometimes even trauma, your body finds other ways to cope. And that's like, this is also falls into the like OCD kind of traits, which I have a little bit. I've always had
I'm an OCD queen over here.
like I had a lot of
Completely understand.
I had already a lot of like body tics growing up.
Yeah.
And a lot of that. So it started when I was 15. I actually started on my lashes, and then quickly went through to my eyebrows. I never really like suffered from it. It's really hard for me to explain because I love doing it.
Is it painful?
No.
Well, so you get joy out of doing it.
Yes, it just releases endorphins, whatever it does. It releases some kind of feel good, and it just makes me feel good.
It's like a relief off of
It's
stress.
a release of stress.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
And
yeah,
I'm so
it's
interested.
so.
I've got my mouth open. I'm like, wow.
How were you
Yes.
diagnosed? Like, how did you go, I better see a doctor about this?
Well, I started like, I started getting asked like, what do you do to your eyebrows? Did you cut them? It was first because I started modeling when I was 16, like a year after. So I'll be at jobs like, what happened to your eyebrows? Did someone cut them? And I'm like, oh no, no. And then I start realizing that I'm just like, I just touch them, and I like to feel my nails go through them, and I don't pull them to the point of ripping them off, but I pull them enough that then they start breaking or falling, and so yeah, I do get a lot of gaps at the ends and sometimes here.
Is it the same with your eyelashes? You sort of just like pull on them to feel them, and then they end up falling out?
Exactly. But I don't do it on my lashes anymore.
Don't do them on your lashes.
I don't do them on. I don't think I have enough of them anymore. But
So did you go and see a doctor?
well, so like I said, I didn't suffer from it.
Right.
It's not like, it was just like a quirky thing that I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I would Google and I'm like, is this what I have? And like, it just never really stopped me from living my life.
Right.
It's just, sure, I have gaps. I can easily cover it. It just doesn't bring me any suffering,
Yeah.
It's
Do you
very
still do it?
mild. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed
And that's why it's so hard for me to stop. It's because it just feels so good. It's the way my body and my brain found for me to deal with anxiety sometimes and boredom. And so, yeah, because it was just never suffering, I never really looked to fix it because I'm like, I liked it. Like, I don't, even today, it's so hard for me to stop because I like it. It's something I talk to my therapist, and he's like, do you really want to stop it? I'm like, deep down, no.
Right.
I like it. I don't like having gaps, and sometimes it does annoy me, but I like doing it. It's weird, and that's why it's so hard to stop. It's just because it just brings you so much release and joy.
So you mentioned your therapist. So your therapist is quite fine to like just leave it alone, just let you.
Not leaving it alone. Like, there are times. It's so hard, but like, to go back, I found out. Once I actually had a diagnosis when I first started going to therapy, and it was because of other things with anxiety and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, I also do this. I think it's this, is it? And he's like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, great. And I tried supplements to cut down on the impulse to do it. A lot of those didn't work. And I think I've never really went deep down into stop doing it because, it's like an addiction.
Yeah.
It's why it's so hard to get sober. It's because it feels good.
You want to do it.
You want to do it.
Yeah.
So I work with my therapist on, I think working on anxiety and traumas and stuff will help with the tricot because it's not something that stops me from living my day-to-day life. It's not my priority.
Your eyebrows are beautifully filled. I wouldn't have known.
Just makeup. But yeah, I can tell sometimes when it bothers me the most is when I'm pulling and it's actually giving me more anxiety.
Oh, wow.
So it can go both ways.
It can go both ways, yeah. Because when I pull because of boredom, that's when, because I pull when either I'm bored or like I don't know what to do with my hands. Or like I'm in a car, I'm on my phone, so I'm like pulling, or I'm reading and I'm pulling, like I'm watching TV and I'm pulling, or when I'm like really anxious.
Yeah.
And that's my first like, I go and just like, I just need to go. So I can tell when I'm either really anxious and I'm just pulling and that's just not, it kind of helps a little bit, and others when I'm just really bored and I just keep pushing, pulling, and then, it's just...
What makes you really anxious? I'm interested. If you don't mind sharing.
Life.
Life?
Yeah, life's hard. What do you mean, Shanina? We're all anxious.
There were like relationships.
Relationships, I think, work.
Yeah.
Just life, I think...
The obstacles of life.
The same
Trauma.
triggers as everybody else.
I think the same triggers as maybe not the exact same triggers, but I'm just a very anxious person.
You know what? I can relate. I'm actually sitting here right now. I don't know whether you've noticed, but I'm looking at you playing with your ring and that sort of thing. And I'm sitting here doing this, which I never stopped doing, by the way. And it's the only... When I was a kid, it was a lot worse. I don't have... Tricot?
Tricot,
yeah. I don't have tricot, but I have ADHD and I have OCD. And one of my sort of tics is that I have to constantly be doing something with my hands, which will just never stop. It's probably going to drive everyone nuts when they watch the podcast now because they'll just see me constantly going like this.
No, I'm doing it.
Yeah. But like when I was a kid, it was really bad because I would dig at my fingers rather than doing that. And
my mom pulls on her.
Me too, and it bleeds.
So that's the same kind of. It's called body automatic. BRFs, automatic body
response,
repetitive something. So I'm being a really bad spokesperson for it because I don't remember.
No, I mean I'll have to look it up because I don't know what it's called either.
Like picking on
the lip.
The lips.
So I did mine so badly that I've actually got a chunk missing, and I had to go get some filler put in to like make my lips look normal again.
Yeah, and
no
then,
way.
Like,
How did I not know that about you?
I don't think I tell people, but yeah,
people
I've got
bite
half a
the
lip
they
missing.
know now.
Now you know. There, you heard it first. I have lip filler, so there you go.
You like biting the inside of your thing, like skin picking, the nails, like people that bite their nails.
Yeah.
It's the same as tricot. It's the same kind of stress response.
I just
Anxiety
cry.
sisters.
Just cry.
You just cry.
Sarah's the other day.
You do cry a lot.
She said that I think 2 days ago. She was like, "You just cry if you're really." I'm like, "I do, don't I?" I just
cry
cry
too. See, I just
sensitive
love crying.
being. Yeah.
We're a sensitive baby.
Yeah.
Just the baby.
I think it's good, just to let it out.
That's my release.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I just found out that I have ADD as well.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. And
It means you're highly intelligent, by the way.
does it?
Yeah, so it basically means the right side of your brain is super overactive and intelligent, and you generally do well at creative things. And yes, you might struggle to be focused, but you also get really hyper focused, which can be valuable too. It often means that the left side of your brain is not so good.
Yeah, and that's what. And it's funny because I've just only when I started working with my therapist, Dr. Amin. I don't know if you've ever been.
Oh, love him.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
He's like, yeah, you have ADD. And it's like once we start talking, it's like women only get diagnosed when they're adults mostly. Because
25.
They're able to mask very well when they're kids. And then I start reading about it and I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
Oh, wow.
And, like I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety that probably is being caused by my untreated ADD.
Absolutely.
So it's been very interesting to learn about it and working with my therapist to like learn ways to
Also for
deal with it.
autism as well, isn't it? Women are sometimes diagnosed later.
Anything spectrum, which it technically is on the spectrum. It's neurodiversity, having ADHD and OCD, and it often comes later with women because in little boys it presents itself as hyperactivity.
Yeah,
but usually
because I don't have hyperactivity.
No,
that's
me
why it's
either.
called ADD. It's ADHD or ADD. It's like a different, but women usually it's like ADD mostly, I think.
Yeah, so they go very insular. I still get the hyperactive triggers and feelings, but I get the social anxiety too that goes with it, which makes me go insular.
I went through all my life waiting for the stress to kick in for me to do anything.
Yeah.
So like I was really good in school and I never had to study.
Wow.
And thank God I never went to university because I would have failed because I still have no study habits. It's really hard for me to go sit down and study. I just can't concentrate.
Yep.
The only thing that I could sit down and concentrate was math. Was the only thing that I actually enjoyed. That hyper focus. For me, it was in math. Everything else I could not. But until I sit down and start it, forget it. I couldn't. It would take me like 30 minutes to even start doing something because the stress kicks in. It's like once the stress kicked in for me. So, sorry, I'm just like my brain now is just going everywhere.
I understand.
So it's just like, I went through, if I had to study for a test, I would study the night before.
Same.
Because the stress would kick in and I would memorize everything. And I still do to this day. I still wait for that stress to kick in. But that's what my therapist said. Like, that's a very, very unhealthy way to cope with things.
Really? Because that's how I operate too. I mean, I feel like I'm a person that works really well under pressure. It's kind of the only way I work. Is like
it's the only way.
last minute.
It's the only way you were taught how to work.
Yeah, right.
Your brain taught you work because you have ADD. You lack certain. I don't know if it's serotonin. It's one of those chemicals that only comes once the fight or flight mode activates, which it's very stressful on your body, and that's why you get very tired after, and you don't want to see anyone. Like I see those cycles with me where I'm constantly like just exhausted, and then the stress kicks in, and then I get everything done, and then I can't, and then it's just a procrastination. Like
You just want to hide from the world.
I think
Yeah.
it's
Not-
a
yeah, not
habit.
socialize.
Is your body is so smart, it will kind of create a memory in it, like this is the safe place. This is how it works. So it will keep you on a loop consistently. Like this is how we deal with stress. I've dealt with panic attacks and also kind of similar like.
Oh yeah, I hope you don't mind me saying, but I've been there for a couple of your panic attacks, and they are real. They are next level. You stop breathing.
I stop. I go blue. It's really bad, actually.
It is
I
really
laugh about
scary.
it. It's very
they're like the worst.
They were the worst, but I was about 4 years ago, I was consistently getting the panic attacks. One got so bad I actually had to go to hospital because I just couldn't breathe. But what happened was my body and my brain was saying, this is how we deal with stress. And it's like a behavioral thing. Like, okay, this is working for when we deal with stress. So I had to like break a habit.
Yeah, you have
I'm not
to
saying you can't break obviously this. It's just like it's a lot harder. But yeah, it's your body, your brain and your body are just so smart, and just knowing it's a coping mechanism. Like this is going to keep us in a safe place, and the release as well. Like, oh, it's done.
Yeah.
That's how it's very, very hard, and it's very interesting how our brains work and what they do for us. But the stress factor, I've been doing a lot of self-work and challenging myself to do things differently, because that's how you build new neurons to kind of go into a better place.
Yeah.
is actually, and your brain is like, nope, don't go that way. That's the really bad way. We don't do challenges, but you have to learn.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard because, especially the older you get, it's just breaking those habits. It's just
You literally
hard.
have neural pathways in your brain going, this is how we do things, whether or not it's good. Actually, you touched on an interesting point there, and I wanted to ask you, Sarah, so what is your wellness routine? You mentioned that you go and see a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of, what does a day in the life of Sara Sampaio look like? There's two parts to this question. What does a day in the life of Sara Sampaio look like? And also, what kind of techniques have you learned from your therapist to deal with all of these things?
Oh, you know,
We'll start with the therapist part since we're on that topic.
yeah, I'm still, because of my ADD, it's very hard for me to do things, start a routine.
So I
I have a really, and
have a hard time
because
with
of
it.
our job, and these are all excuses, but it's just how my brain had to work for so long. Because of our job, we were just always on the go. We just always have to be ready you just don't make a routine and you don't make plans because you're always on the go. Like one day I could be home and I would have to be ready to travel tomorrow and then be on the go. So I'm very good at adapting to new situations, but that also creates a lot of stress in me. And
do you find that when you can get yourself into a routine, because I know that I do you find that you cope much better with stress?
Yes, but it's really hard for me to start that routine.
Right.
And as soon as I start traveling, that routine goes off.
Yeah.
And I go into a full-on stress mode. So I'm still learning. It's like, it's a constant work. I'm going through that right now at this particular moment where I'm just had something happen in my personal life that I feel very unsupported to myself. Like I feel like I'm very that I need to do better when it comes to my routine, to create boundaries to myself and my routine, and to support myself mentally, because I am not doing that. And I'm keep making excuses to myself. Oh, because I'm tired. Oh, because I just came back from traveling, or because, and sorry.
Do you find that you beat yourself up when you feel like this? Yeah.
And I'm actually seeing my therapist today because I really need to speak to her.
I might need your therapist's number, by the way, because literally everything you're saying is just like, oh yeah. Just everything you're saying, I'm like, oh my God, me too. Oh, I feel that way as well. I feel guilty too. Like, you're not alone.
Yeah, and you
should stay for later. Sorry, we probably don't add this. We have a therapist coming in.
You do?
Yeah, should be really good.
Yeah, he is good. Hang back a bit.
But yeah, I think I'm still, I need to stop giving excuses, and I think I need to start actually putting my actions where my mouth is, and just really, because I know what I need to do, but I just can't get myself to do it. Yeah. And I think a lot of it's because of my ADD, but I think a lot of it's because I'm used to let my anxiety kick in and do all that needs to be done for me. And that's what I'm struggling with right now. It's like, that's what I just still need to learn. It's how to not wait for that stress to kick in to get stuff done.
Yep.
Yeah. I think for me, I kind of understand what you're saying is sitting with the situation or the feelings of what's going on. We're kind of like avoid.
Yeah, exactly.
Stress. Okay, we would deal with the stress, or like hopefully something outside of what I'm doing right now is going to help me to give me the ease so I don't focus on it.
Yeah.
And I think we learn over time, and it will keep coming up, and you're just like, this is not working for me anymore. And I've learned this as well, like, stop making the excuses for it, stop stressing about it, sit there and write it down and think about it or work on it and actually confront what's going on. And that's like part of like the challenge in your brain, because it's like, well, no, the safe space is doing this, but the challenge is sitting there and being like, wow, like, I was talking about this is Glennon Doyle said this, is like, do you want to deal with the pain, or you want to sit there and suffer?
Sage advice from Glennon Doyle.
Yeah.
No, but it's true, because why a lot of like the anxiety and even like my tricho comes, it's from that avoidance. So if I don't deal with it, it's gonna have to come somehow. Yeah. It's gonna have to come out somehow, and it's coming out with my tricho. It's coming out with my anxiety, with my heart palpitations.
Hard word.
Because I'm making excuses, because I'm not dealing with it. Like, I can give you an example what I'm going through. Like, you know, I hurt someone that really matters to me. And when they were telling me how I made them feel, my brain constantly just went into defense mode. And just went, and I just could not deal. I just don't and didn't want to deal with the fact that I actually hurt someone. And my brain just had to come with excuses. Oh, but I did this because of this and because of that and because of this. But like, you did this and as well. And it was just, my brain, I was just trying as hard as I can to minimize what I did to someone else, just to make myself, to not take accountability for what I did.
Did you vocalize that, or was it in your brain? Like, how did you actually deal with this situation when you were sitting one-on-one with the person?
Oh, the other person kept calling me out on it until I was just like, oh. And then I became really frustrated with myself, because I was like, I'm doing it again. And I'm doing it again. And how do I stop this? And I think a lot of it, you know, comes from childhood. And a lot of it comes from, you know, I've always wanted, like, you know, I always felt like I wasn't good enough, or I always have to, you know, if I wasn't perfect, people don't like me.
Yeah.
And I think that comes a lot with, and that's where my defensive mechanism comes, you know, like, oh, if I can make an excuse, like, I don't have to take accountability for what I did.
If you could go back and have this conversation with this person again, what would you change?
I think I would have just shut up.
And just listened.
And just listen. Just listen and just not get defensive and, like, not make it about myself, you know? And it's hard. It's hard because it's making me, it's just like, it's opening me to feel like I'm a horrible person. But I'm not, but it's just like,
the feeling.
Someone told me I did something wrong. And then if someone tells, like, I'm starting to cry because if someone tells me I did something wrong, that's when I start crying. And I can't stop it. And I can't control it.
I do that too. I cry.
Yeah.
Like, and we're all going to cry.
Yeah.
And I think that's the feeling that I just, and that's why I want to talk to my therapist, because, like, I just don't know how to sit in that feeling. You know, in that feeling of disappointing someone, hurting someone. So I think that's, you know, you're always learning. And so that to me is like what I'm struggling with right now. And I was just like, oh. It was also interesting because I've never realized this until yesterday. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
You have to sit with
damn.
Is this like a reoccurring thing that's happened that this person finally found the courage to talk to you about, or?
No, this is just one specific incident. Yeah. And that person just, have had a lot more therapy than I did. So they were able to call me on my shit and what was I doing. So
Sounds like a really good person to have in your life as to make a good mirror for you.
yeah.
I did that a lot. I would take on, if I knew I'd done something wrong or something to hurt somebody, I would eat myself up and I'll cry and be like, well, that's not me. But am I bad? I'm like, oh, like maybe they don't care about me. Maybe they don't love me anymore. Like, are they gonna like treat me differently?
They're gonna
now?
leave me.
They're gonna leave me, and it goes into, it's called like a vicious cycle. You go in like in a loophole.
And because you don't want to feel that, you start with like, well, but
Stop
like,
believing it.
yeah.
I take on the shame and I believe it to protect myself rather than don't want to put it on them, but it's just protecting like, oh yeah, maybe it is me doing all that. And I think for me, how I've dealt with it now, like only learning curve, is like as feelings are validated though too, like feeling hurt, like, you know, you're human. It's like, I've hurt that person, but what can I do to be better? Because I was like, thank you for bringing that to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What can I do to, you know, fix this or make them feel better? Like, I want to be better. I want to learn. I want to grow and connect with you more. So I've kind of like twisted it in my mind. It's like, you know what? Like, you are not your mistakes. You are not a bad person.
Right.
You didn't know. And it's communication to keep it open.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. But they love you. They're going to be there and talk to you about it, you know, hopefully.
But I think we all have trauma. Like for me, you know, like I feel like making a mistake is going to
Like,
make people like either not like me or not love me or so I was like, yeah, it was almost like I was like gaslighting.
Yeah.
It comes to a point I was like, well, but you did this. And I was like, what am I doing? And I was getting even more frustrated then like that person called me on it. I was like,
because they go in defense as well. Because if you think about it, if someone's blaming me, I'd be like, that's not me. What are you talking about? I go on the defense.
Exactly.
And then you're kind of like playing this role. It's just like a vicious.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
But then it came to a point, and I was like, why am I? I was getting so frustrated with myself. I was like, why am I keep doing it? Why can't I just acknowledge what I did instead of trying to take the blame out of me? You know, like I just did not want to feel like
So
I wanted to give a reason. I wanted to give a reason why I did what I did instead of just like,
I screwed up.
No one wants to admit.
Yeah.
Think about it. No one wants to admit I fucked up.
Yeah.
I did wrong. No one
I'm
wants to
just
admit.
fortunate that it's never happened to me. I've never screwed up in my life. So. I'm kidding. Obviously kidding. I screw up all the time on an hourly basis.
Yeah.
I think, you know, just listening to you talk about this experience, and by the way, thank you for sharing that, because I know that was really vulnerable of you.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate it. But I don't think this person would have come to you and said, hey, can I talk to you? You hurt me, if they didn't love you, you know, if they didn't really care about you. So what a wonderful person to have in your life, somebody who actually wants to take the time to sit with you and grow from this experience, you know?
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, I think.
And I think, I still have a lot of work to do because, you know, my first reaction was to get defensive. And I'm like, oh, you're going to leave me if I did this thing that you tell me I did. So let me tell you why I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I think I still need to learn. And I think it's a work in progress that it's like, you can fuck up. It's okay.
Yeah.
People, you're not a bad person.
No.
People are not going to leave you. Well, they might, but it depends what you did. But I think it's just you need to learn how to take accountability. And it's also why like cancel culture is so bad. Because it's also ingraining this to people that once you did something, you're done.
out.
You're done. Yeah. I once got cancelled on Clubhouse for a whale moan room, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Don't go on Clubhouse and moan like a whale. You will have a Vice article written about you.
Also, the cancel culture of not having the victim or whoever is on the other side to take accountability, responsible for themselves. They don't even have like a voice. They're kind of like, the whole world is judging you. It's like, this
there's
is
one opinion.
We're going to place you right here and you're done. So going therapist, because it was like, we went to therapy. I wanted to go back into the wellness balance of your life. So
There's none.
It's really interesting to hear you say that, because I feel like you've achieved so much. There has to be some wellness tips you can give everyone.
I don't know.
Yes. I feel like you do. Your release is like,
I think because right now I feel like
on edge.
I'm on, because I'm going through all these emotions that I'm not used to. I just feel like a failure right now at this moment. I know I'm not, and that's why I need to talk to my therapist. But right now, this is it's just what I'm feeling. So I'm having a hard time.
Maybe we should get you back on the show after you speak to your therapist.
I know.
So you'd be like, yeah, I'm good at this.
I can tell you what a wellness thing for you is.
But it's okay, you know?
Yeah,
like it's okay to feel like this.
Of course.
Absolutely. No.
Because you can't appreciate the highs if you don't get the lows.
And thank you for being so honest about it.
Yeah, for sharing that. I think your wellness, and Sarah's very good at this, you're very, very busy with work and traveling or whatever it is, but you find a good balance with just doing nothing. Where people are like, what do you do in your free time? And you're like
nothing.
Nothing. But it's so good.
It is and it isn't.
It is. I disagree.
It is. Yes, it is. It is. But at the same time, it's like I have a lot of free time now. Yeah. You know, I'm not working as crazy as I did back in my 20s. So not doing nothing is becoming
uncomfortable.
No, it's becoming longer than it should be, and that's something that I need to start addressing. And so yes, I'm great at that, but I'm getting too good at that.
Start a podcast. Your life will be full straight away.
I think there's guilt though, where I feel guilt behind. Where sometimes I hear myself. I was like, I don't do anything. Then people are like, oh, all right, well. But I'm like,
it is judge and guilt.
Yeah, but I'm like, I look at myself, I'm like, no, I'm actually okay. There's so much going on in our world. Like, even if we wanted to have the fun of being on social media and then we're open to judgment and things like that, I'm like, I don't want to sit in Netflix and chill.
I know.
I just want to
I was asked, like, so what are your hobbies? And I'm like, I don't have any.
Yeah.
I like sitting at home on my phone. And I'm like, and then I'm like,
cuddling your dogs.
Cuddling my dogs. And I'm like, oh, that's probably
That's
not
weird.
okay.
That's my hobby. What a coincidence.
But then you go back, why don't I have hobbies? I'm like, well, because I was never able to have a hobby because I was constantly on the go. But now that I don't know what to do with my free time because I don't have a hobby, so I don't do anything. So so those are things that I'm also like, I need to start addressing as well because I'm just avoiding.
I think it's a beautiful thing though, because it's kind of like a new chapter for you where you're finding yourself and you're being more aware. I think when we get to our 30s, like our 20s was just like, you're a kid still. It's like, it's a trial. Your 30s, you're being more aware of yourself and like the next chapter. And
selective.
And getting to know yourself. And like, what about dating for you?
Shanina's been raring to ask this question. So Sarah, tell us about dating.
I'll tell you why. Sarah's good at dating. She brings joy and laughter and fun to it. But there was a time where I was just done with a relationship and we went on a holiday. And she's like, you need to get back out there and have fun. I'm going to set you up on Raya.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And I started crying. I'm not lying. My crying. I started crying. I was like,
why?
Because
what's wrong with Raya?
There's nothing wrong with Raya at all. I think it's great for a way for people in the industry or whatever it is to connect, and it is a quicker, easier way just to get to know somebody in our lives.
Everybody meets on apps these days. It's totally normal.
We're all busy, you know, and just you cut out what like you just get a vibe, and that's enough, you know.
Yeah. No, but I started crying because I was like, my life. I was recently divorced and went through another breakup, and I was just from ground zero, and I wasn't used to being on apps yet. You know, I was doing it the traditional way. You're like, hopefully the wind blows and his handkerchief will fall in and I'll meet him and like just stupid things in my head. But I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go on an app and put myself out there. And I'm 30. This is not what I want. I was just in my head about it. But after a few tequila shots and all that, it was great. It was fun. You brought the love and you're good at it.
I feel like you are really good at it, actually. Like
And when
I watch you date, and it's quite inspiring because you're just like, cool, out we go. I'm gonna meet this guy. I'm gonna go for dinner, like whatever it is.
Confidence. The confidence I see with her is great.
But I had to learn that as well because, you know, I was in a bad relationship for like 7 years.
Yeah.
And then during quarantine, I became single, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's a shitty time to become single.
Same.
But I think a lot of people look at dating as like, I have to get it right. And I think the more I start going on dates, and it was like the first time I ever went on dates, because that's not how like we do it in Europe. You know, you just meet people. You don't really go on dates. You just start hanging with everyone, and then you start hanging by yourself, you know. But you just don't go on dates in Europe. It's
Really?
so yeah. It's
I love
interesting.
dating.
Yeah, but then like
Wait,
it was
you
like
love dating?
I'm not a dater, I should say. I'm a relationship girl. But I love the idea of
well, me too. Don't
a
get me
man,
wrong.
like just and, you know, or a woman, like you're meeting each other up and having a dinner and talking.
I find it terrifying.
See,
Absolutely terrifying.
I like
but me too. Until the point I was like,
So how did you switch it?
so it's fun.
Okay.
And as long as you're honest, as long as you're not playing games with people, it's fun. You're getting to meet new people. You're getting to like, it's like, you also feel a little validation if people like you back, you know? And even if you don't see, you click, you just be honest and you go on to the next one.
How do you navigate? I mean, first of all, have you had a really bad date before?
Yeah, I had dates
tell
that
us
was
about
so
it, please.
awkward.
Tell us about the bad dates.
I had dates
Look
that
at
was
my
like,
legs are
I never had like those horrible dates that like get me up. But like I had dates where it's just like
connecting.
you just don't know what to say. That it's just
Yeah.
like awkward. You're both like don't know what to. You just don't click, so you just don't know what to say to each other. And
The
you
awkward
just,
silence.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you just like there's just not a conversation that it's like fluid between you two, and you're just like, oh, I just want this to end.
Is there something a guy does that kind of like gives you an ick on a date? What's a tip for a guy if they want to go on a date with a girl? What's like a good tip? And what's a like, don't do this, please? It's a no-no.
I don't really have. I mean, there's just the basic of like just be nice to the waiters, you know, like.
It's amazing how many people don't get that though. And it's an instant like, see you later for me.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
But yeah, I just looked at it as it's fun. It should be fun.
Yeah.
It should not be stressful. It should be fun. And also, you don't need to marry the first guy you go on a date with, you know? Like, if you go on a date, it didn't go well, you don't see it, you just be nice. Be like, hey, I just didn't... Don't ghost people. Don't ghost people. That's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
Just talk. Just be honest. Just be like, hey, I just didn't feel a connection. I think you're great. It's just... I don't see this going anywhere.
Have you ended up with friends that way? Because I have,
of course, yeah. I've ended up with friends like that, and as long as there is honesty, or even if you start seeing someone more often, you know, like be open that you are still seeing other people, or that, or when you want to like, look, I'm not seeing other people. Are you? Or you just. Conversation, just be honest. And I think it's so exciting. And also, if you're not ready to date, don't date. Work on yourself.
Yeah.
But also be open to it. Even if it's someone that you're like, oh, I never saw, just get wine and dined, you know? Sometimes
that.
you just, even if nothing comes to it, just Get some validation sometimes. You know, everyone needs a little validation.
Go
sometimes.
to a new restaurant and try it out. You know, but just like
Exactly.
make fun out, like create the fun for it.
Yeah.
What's the best date you've ever been on?
Oh,
Or how did it make you feel? You know, like just thinking back.
I don't know.
Just been on a good few dates.
I don't like
Sarah's a serial
my
dater.
dates. You know, like, to be honest, what makes a good date or a bad date, it's just your connection to the person.
Right.
Because it could be a date in a fucking weird, like some hole on the wall. As long as you're with the right person, it's
I agree.
the best date ever.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't care if you take me to Michelin Star or you take me to Pizza Hut. If I want to hang with you and you're fun, we're gonna have fun either way.
Hey, let's not knock Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, especially at 3 a.m. Chef's kiss.
Pizza Hut, by the way, Pizza Hut.
See us at Pizza Hut this weekend.
No, like Pizza Hut in
Please
Portugal.
sponsor us.
They should be sponsored. But Pizza Hut in Portugal, I swear to God, it's so good.
Really?
It's
too.
so
Remember
good.
back in the day, the
I remember,
buffets? Yeah.
like we have the most beautiful Pizza Hut in the world. I feel because it's like by
Really?
the beach. It's
Okay.
on the beach.
Stop.
No, it's stunning.
Wait, are we going to Portugal to go to Pizza
Yes,
Hut?
yes. No, but
it's like KFC in
it's like-
Jamaica.
it's-
It's so good. Oh my God.
and
You heard it
so
first.
I remember when I came to the US and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Pizza Hut. I'm like, what is this? It's just oil.
It gets a lot better at 3 a.m. though.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Yeah.
After 3 tequila shots or more.
But I do believe that as long as there is a good vibe, it just doesn't matter.
Just talking about this though reminded me because you mentioned Raya before and stuff. I once went on this Raya date and it was honestly probably the worst date I've ever been on. I have to share with you guys because this story is so funny. So not trying to put anyone off dating, but I'm not going to lie, it did put me off for a bit. So I matched with this guy on Raya and I was like, okay, he's cute. Like I'll go on a date with him. And he hit me up and he invited me for dinner at this really nice, like very bougie hotel in LA. So I was like, oh, straight out the gate, this guy wants to impress me. He must be cool. So I turn up to this hotel and he's sitting down on the chair waiting for me in the lobby. And I was like, oh, hey. And he turns up and he goes, he stands up and he goes, you don't have a height thing, do you? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, stand next to me. And he's like kind of the same height as me. And he's like, oh, I just, because I'm not super tall. I'm like, you're my height. It's fine. This is weird. All right.
That's a weird way to open.
So weird. It gets more weird if it's even possible. So we go to the table and the waiter takes us over there. And the minute we sit down, he goes, so I like it rough. I'm like, I literally spat out my drink.
Wait, what?
He goes, so I like it rough. I'm like, what did he just say to me? And I'm like, do you mean in bed? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, at that point, I swear to God, I've known this guy 5 minutes. At this point, I couldn't help myself. So I turned around, I'm like, so what you just told me is you're really bad in bed.
You said that to him. That's
And I was like, fuck this guy. What an asshole making that
I
comment.
would get up and leave. I was
Well, I basically
Check.
did. I basically did. So then he's like, he just kind of laughed that off. And then he goes, so you're a DJ, yeah? I said, yeah, I'm a DJ. And he goes, so you travel a lot, yeah? I said, yeah, I'm gone like basically every weekend. And he's like, I think that's really good because I think it's really good for couples to have time apart. I'm like, holy hell. So then my brain starts going, how the hell do I get out of here?
Where are your parents? Where are you raised?
Also, who hurt you? Anyway, so then I'm like, I got to get the hell out of here. So I think, he might have ordered some salads or something. I kind of ate the salad. And then I was like, hey, look, I'm kind of feeling like I'm getting a migraine. I'm sorry to cut this short. You're really nice, but like I think I got to get out of here. So he's like, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. I'm kind of tired too. Yeah, it's cool. I'll walk you out. So we go out the front And I start to call an Uber, and he's like, I live just up the street. I'll drop you off. And I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. He's like, no. Like, my car's right here. I'll drop you off. So I'm like, oh, God. So I was feeling awkward. I don't know why I said yes, but I said yes. So anyway, so he drives me to my street, and I'm kind of looking around going, I want him to pull up in a different driveway. I don't want him to see, like, where I live. So I had him pull up, like, a couple of houses away. And so I couldn't get out of the car fast enough. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, so, thanks very much. It was really great meeting you. I'm sure we'll chat soon, whatever. I go to open the door and I'm like, got 1 foot out, and he goes, wait a second. I said, what? He goes, well, I wanted to kiss you.
Oh, no.
Ew.
And I just said, the moment's gone. Sorry, buddy. Jumped out, shut the door.
Run, Georgia, run.
The worst part was this guy kept hitting me up. He's like, I felt like, that was really great. When can we go out again? And I was honest with him. And then he got really rude towards me.
Of course, like Autumn wasn't even into you.
A tale as old as time, yeah. But I have to admit, like, I was not on.
Please, guys, get the picture. Like, these are the signs.
Like, some guys just don't take a hint.
It was
Just
scarring.
don't. Yeah.
It really was.
This is making me uneasy.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've had, like, weird situations. Like, I remember went on one day with this guy, and it was, like, so awkward. And then I was like, hey, sorry. Like, he wanted to go on a second date. I'm like, yeah, sorry. Like, I'm not feeling it. And he's like, oh, I really wish I could take you on a second day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, no. And then he sent me, like, a 4-page written letter to my house.
What?
Yes.
Sorry. Don't do that, guys.
And I was like, oh.
Oh, no.
And it was just, like, so awkward. I was like, ooh.
What did it say? Like,
I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
Just
general gist.
No, it was just, like, it's just like how much he liked me, how he wanted to take another chance, and I'm like, I met you like once.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and
Yeah.
I already told you no.
It's because you're so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't want to miss this one.
No.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're planning on sending Sarah a letter, don't do it. So, Sarah, you're not just a pretty face, you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You have a new business.
I have a new business.
Tell us about it.
It's called Funk.
Okay.
PHUNK. And it's like the first hard seltzers in Portugal.
Wow.
So right now we're just in Portugal, Spain, and hopefully soon in Italy.
What's the base of the hard seltzer?
Hard seltzer is sugarcane.
Okay, so it's sugar. Okay.
Sugarcane alcohol.
Okay.
It's delicious, by the way.
It's so good. And we just came out with a new product, which is hard seltzer with tequila. So it's hard seltzer and
that's the one
tequila.
that's
A
really
woman
delicious.
after
And
my
that's the one
heart.
that it's delicious. Me and Shanina were having it the other day.
Amazing.
So if you come to Portugal, Funk.
I love it. Now, how did you get into, what made you want to create a hard seltzer?
I've always wanted to have my business. I just didn't really knew what. And the company already existed. And then they reached out to me and they wanted me not just like to be the face of it, but to actually be invested in it and just so it could be mine too. So that's how the thing started, and yeah, it's been really, really fun to just be involved since the beginning of like a product till we launch.
You must have learned a lot.
So much, and it's been making like I'm a very creative person, so it's just been having that control as well of like the creative part. It's just been so exciting.
Amazing. And what are your plans for Funk in the future?
Well, we obviously want to come out with more products, and we just go everywhere. We're focusing on Europe for now because
Where are you available in Europe?
Well, as of now, in Portugal, and then Spain, we're in Glovo, and then Italy, soon we're going to be in Glovo. I think, like with any business, it's just alcohol business is all about distribution. So that's where we are focusing now. And eventually we want to come to the U.S.
Any big distributors? Give Sarah a call.
Call me if you want Funk in the U.S.
I do.
I know.
It's delicious.
I know, I'll have to try it. I can't wait.
It's so good. You have to come over. I have some at my house.
Awesome.
And
Cool.
acting.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about your
Wait,
acting.
sorry, I just cut you off. Do you want to do that again?
Okay. And acting. I think you just did another role recently, and I'm your dear best friend, but I'm like, you've done another role.
What
I'm
a
like,
great best friend
I
you
know.
are, Shanina.
I know.
Yeah, but the end of last year, the end of last year, I shot this movie called Billy Knight. And it has like Al Pacino, it has Diana Silvers, Charlie Eaton.
Wow.
Yeah,
What was it like
it's like
working
an
with?
indie. It's like an indie small, but it's
Yeah, but
was
you
really
worked with
fun.
Al Pacino. What was that like?
We only had one scene together, but it was just like having a
Still.
little acting class, you know? We just came in and just seeing him do his thing was like really cool.
I bet. My goodness. I mean, how many people can say they've done a scene with Al Pacino? That's huge.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
We don't even know if you might get cut. Who knows?
I doubt
You
it.
still, at least the benefit, if you say there's like an acting class, you still did a scene with Al Pacino. I hope you got pictures.
Yeah.
But no, you're doing, like, I've seen the progress of like your acting, and she's very, like, you work hard. And we've traveled together, and I've got like kicked out of the room because she was doing auditions, and I can hear it.
We were in
Croatia.
no,
No.
it's the Dominican Republic.
Was it Dominican?
Yeah.
No, and also Croatia. Was it Croatia? We were in the winery as well. You were doing an acting audition. We were staying in the same room for Jasmine's.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you've done-
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
done-
we're on strike now. So.
I know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
As a
It's, you know, I feel like I don't have much say in it, but, you know, they know what they're doing, and we need better pay for actors. And
Absolutely.
It's very important. And
It is very
hopefully-
important.
I think everyone wants to get it done fast, but it has to be fair for everyone. So
yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? And big shout out to everybody out there on the picket lines
know.
actually protesting, because it is a really important cause. Writers are underpaid, as are actors. And come on, studios, step it up. You know,
Yeah.
we're all big Netflix fans here, and
yeah.
you know, we want our favorite TV shows to get made again. So come on, you got to pay them properly.
yeah, and it's obviously like we're not striking for the big A-list that make $1 million a year. We're striking for, you know, the
Most
guest,
people,
the
yeah.
guest the guest actors, and that, so they are able to actually make a living out of it, because the studios make so much money, and they're not upfront about what
They're not sharing.
they're not
the
sharing
profits.
the profits, and they're not even sharing the numbers. So it's really hard to negotiate when you don't even know what you're negotiating against. So
Also, a lot of women get underpaid.
Yeah.
Even A-lists are getting underpaid compared to a male colleague, a co-star, which is crazy. Yeah, it has to change. It really does.
The other thing they're striking is
The AI.
studios, using AI,
AI, yeah,
capturing people's
that's
likeness.
just-
How do you feel about that?
you know, AI, it's here, whether we like it or not. So we're all going to have to be, we're going to have to deal with it, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
But there has to be some regulations. And I
Yeah.
think because no one knows what's going to be of AI, no one knows what.
It's taking our jobs.
Yeah, but it's just.
It can also make life easier. There are pros
It's
and
gonna,
cons.
yeah, it's gonna make
Yeah.
life easier, and it's gonna take some jobs. It's gonna create others.
Yeah.
But there has to be regulations. But it's hard to regulate something that we don't know.
Yeah, personally though, I don't want to watch a television show and watch, one of my favorite actors performing and then find out it wasn't them.
Yeah, and it opens that the door was like, will Tom Cruise be able to be an actor for the next 1,000 years thanks to AI? Even he's dead, and you can still do movies with him. It's just gonna.
Doesn't exactly make it special, does it?
Exactly. So that's what needs to be regulated, and that's what's so hard to negotiate, because no one know the full scope of what AI can do. But
And obviously you're on strike right now, but what are your goals in the future as an actor?
just keep doing roles.
Yep.
I'm actually filming something next year, which is very exciting that I
How
can't talk about. I
exciting.
can't talk about
I
until.
think I know what it is.
Is it?
No,
It's very big.
it's very big. Yeah.
It is very big.
Is it a
I do know
film
it.
or a TV series?
It's a movie. Yeah.
How
I know what it
exciting.
is, and
we can't talk about
can't
it
talk
until
about
after
it.
the strike.
I totally forgot about it as well. I heard it through the grapevine, and it's yes, you
Yeah.
go girl. I'm so excited for you.
How amazing.
So yeah, I just want to keep acting. I just really love it.
Are there any kind of dream roles that you would like to play or any dream actors that you'd like to work with? I mean, I feel like you've already set the bar very high with Al Pacino, but
I mean, Angelina Jolie has always been my number one.
I see that.
I love her. Yeah. I want to like play her sister or something.
I can also see that. That would make sense.
But bring Tomb Raider back.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
God,
I
that'd be
could
so
see
cool. Yeah, I would love to be Tomb Raider.
You would be an amazing Lara Croft. Hopefully, I hope that happens for you.
I hope it happens.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm wary of your time.
What
It's
time
1
is it?
o'clock.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Oh, I feel
I-
like we could keep going though. There's so much I want to talk about.
I know it's
Yeah.
but I can't thank you enough for making the time and just being so vulnerable and open about who you are and your experiences. You're an asset to this world because of what you bring also just on social media. It's very, very rare to have a woman like you.
Thank you.
But thank you.
And
I
it's
love you.
so tough because it's like, if I'm too real, then brands don't want.
Oh, please don't stop.
No,
It's
don't.
so refreshing.
Be you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's working in the most
I
beautiful
hate
way.
social media. It's like I
you.
love and hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I try. I'm just trying.
No.
I'm just trying to survive, you know?
I think you're crushing it, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
you,
you.
guys.